All right. Another Friday, August 29th. They can't stop us, Jay. We go hard.
I like that cut.
they can't stop us. We go hard, brother.
Yeah, you know it. You know it. You know
You
it.
know? Yeah. And thank all of y'all. We know y'all could have been anywhere else on this Friday. We thankful and grateful that y'all are here with us. My name is Shadi Ali, and my man Jay Sean, aka Mr. F Love.
Love don't live here. Love don't live here anymore.
So what's good, my brother?
Man, nothing. Just another week. Looking forward to doing the show. You know what I mean. I had a pretty good week. You know what I mean. Like it seemed like at our age, for some reason, it's like every day is a learning experience. You know what I mean? Like you thought maybe at this age you would stop learning things, but nah. Every day something gonna happen, a situation or a problem, or something, and you're gonna be like, okay, yeah, I learned something from that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and the reality is if you stop learning, you stop growing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
it's about growing. That's what it's about. Learning
Def-
and growing.
definitely, definitely,
And
definitely.
and we're an example for the younger people. If we can learn at our age, they definitely can learn. And they definitely and one of the key components is being able to change.
Yeah.
I mean, and 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 when you're younger, it's for some reason, when I was younger, I used to have this thing where I say, you know, this who I am. You know what I mean? This who I am, and that was the easy way for me to stay the way I was without, putting some work in to change.
Yep. Yeah.
You
That's
know,
true. Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
so
Definitely true.
so for any of y'all out there who saying this is who I am, no, this is who you are at the time. You can become greater and better than what you are at that time. That's the goal.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm sure the people missed you last week. You know what I mean? You want to briefly let them know what you did, or
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah. I gotta apologize for last week. It was a last minute business call came in. I thought I had set it up. I thought it was set up for 9. I actually was a third party in the meeting, and at the last minute they called me up and said it's gonna start at 8. So I think I hit you like quarter to 8. Like I ain't gonna be able to do it.
Right,
And
right.
it's it got something to do with our profession, writing, and um doing things that we do best. So I'm looking forward to. Hoping for the best, and I hope I'll be bringing more good news to everybody soon.
Okay,
Because if
that's
I
what's up.
when I make it, my brothers make it. When they make it, I make. Well, me and you always had that pact.
Oh, definitely, definitely. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we always had that
One make it, we all make it.
pact. Yeah, I just hope. Well, I ain't gonna say that, but when it happened, it happened. But it's gonna happen. You know
Oh
what I
yeah, 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 yeah. We on the grind, man. They can't stop us. It's
I don't mean to cut you off,
go
but
ahead.
some people didn't make it till they got to an old age. Morgan Freeman, he didn't even get a hit in a movie till he was like 43 or something like that. You know what I mean? So you're never too old. You know?
Nah. Long as you healthy enough in your mind, you're in the right state of mind.
Yeah.
It's sky's the limit. You know what I'm saying?
You never stop.
Right. I mean, and the real limits is we place on ourselves or we allow other people to do so.
True.
You
Yeah.
know, so
Exactly.
that's what it is. So, with that being said, let's get into it for the people.
You know it. You know it.
You know,
Um, I think last week I went first, so this week I guess you will go first. I ask you a question first.
okay, go
Um,
ahead, shoot it.
um, okay. So we know a lot about characters, people characters and demeanor and a certain way people move and walk in life. And in life you're gonna meet a lot of people. Some people gonna be there for a season, a reason, a season. Some people gonna be there for a minute. Some people gonna be there for hours. Some people gonna be there for a lifetime. But I'm just moving this camera to read y'all. So what I'm asking you is, can your dislikes about a person interfere with the love you have for them?
Mm, wow, that's something to really think about. Your dislikes. Your dislikes in love. I think your dislikes can um, what's the word I want to use? I think it can become an obstacle. You know what I mean? It can become an obstacle because if you dislike enough things about a person, it will pull you away from the person. You know what I'm saying? Because even, you know, even if you love the person, I mean, this can happen with either romantic relationships, even family relationships.
Right,
Like nobody wants to be in a relationship or be around a person that consistently do things that they dislike.
right,
Ultimately, I think what ends up happening is a person do enough things to you that you dislike, you ultimately start disliking that person,
that's true.
you know? So, yeah, I think in a number of occasions, in a number of situations, you know, the dislike factor plays a heavy part in how people get along. And the other factor is sometimes a person may do something that you dislike and it may be unintentional. It just
Right,
may be something that they enjoy doing or something they are used to doing. And
right,
if that's the case, then I think it's beneficial for the individuals to mend or to increase the relationship to speak about it, to have a conversation about it. For example, if you're the type of person that doesn't like confrontation and you're with one of your friends or so, always confrontational, I think it would be beneficial to say, look, I don't like that verbal sword fight. I don't like going back and forth because it's no purpose to it. It's one thing if we're debating and we both have two different points and we're striving to get each other to look at our view, to see our view, you know?
right,
And then it's a different thing when you have a person who just straight up combative. Whatever you say, they're going to go the opposite way, you know,
yeah,
that type of thing. So, yeah, I think it can, interfere with the love that you display. I don't think it actually stop you from loving a person, but I think it will stop you from showing it. to a certain extent. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You'll get to a point where you'll be like, nah, why should I do that? You know what I mean? This person getting on my nerve. I ain't trying to, I ain't trying to make them feel better. I'm not trying to do nothing, good, and they making me feel, they getting on my nerve, making me feel bad. So that type of thing,
yeah.
you know.
Uh,
So, what's your thoughts?
that's mine is a little different, but then you kind of tapped on it at the end. Um, I believe that the problem because when you start loving somebody, they're gonna have things about them that you dislike. I think that if it's real true love, see, then you're gonna start overlooking their dislikes, right? But in the long run, in life, the older you get, the more you mature, or more you around that person, then I think that's gonna start pulling away from the love you got from them. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times I've been in relationships with people, and you might have strong feelings for them, even love for them, but it's certain things you don't like about them. You know what I mean? Like, she talked too much when company around, or um, she always hacking on me about something that I'm doing, and or you know what I mean. She always, it's never enough.
Right,
Whatever I do, you know what I mean. And
right,
your love for you is gonna make you want to stay around them because you love them.
right, right.
You know what I mean. So you're gonna overlook a lot of things, but in the long run, I believe that the dislikes for the person, I believe they become like a snowball effect.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Or I believe it become like a thorn in your side that won't go away. And then I believe it's gonna start interfering with your love that you have for them. But I don't know if it will happen right away. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because you might got things about you that they don't like. You know, and it's basically the same thing you were saying. I
Right,
I just believe that people, all everybody, I believe that we overlook a lot of things, or either we deal with it, or we accept it for the moment, or we. But the problem is that that moment, that second, could turn into months and years and eternity. You know what I mean? And then before
right,
you know it, you gotta, you got a full blown dislike for the person. Like it killed the love. It killed everything you had for them. Because of because of your dislike for whatever the situation was with them. It could be a lot of things that's wrong with people. I guess because nobody's perfect. So.
yeah.
I believe that dislike can interfere with the love you have with somebody, but I believe in the long run,
Okay,
that's how I
okay.
feel about it.
All right. Once your tolerance level, you reach your tolerance level.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, because we all lived it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree, and I think that's well said, because at the end of the day, we all have flaws. You know what I'm saying? And then it's a thing that, okay, is it something that you dislike about the person that they can change, or is it something that you dislike that's innately who they are?
Yeah, that's
That
true.
makes a difference too.
Yeah, because it might just yeah you hit that one on the nose. Because if it's what they really are, it's not gonna never change. I don't care if they 30, 40, 50,
Right,
60. It's not gonna change.
right.
You know what I mean? So hey, you gotta just I don't know. I don't got the answer for that one.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's each individual has the has to choose for themselves. It's, it's an individual tolerance level,
Right.
because everybody deal with something differently. You have one person that may say, this a person checking up on them is okay. They want that.
Yeah.
Another person may get, I don't want you checking up on me. You know what I'm saying? So it could go either way.
True. True. True.
But let's get to the next question.
All
Let's
right.
move right along. Um, there's a saying, like most when it comes to us, men and women, they say we kind of choose people like our parents. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Man kind of choose a woman who has like characteristics like his mom to some degree, and daughters have a tendency to choose a man who have characteristics like their father. So my question is, do you think daughters turn out to be like their mother?
Mm. You know, it was a time when I didn't believe that. You know, I believe that because I have seen stories where you might have had a bad father, and then the son come out to be good, or a good mother and the daughter turn out to be bad. But now, at the age I'm at now, and the things I have seen, and the things I have witnessed, and stuff like that, and lived around the things, I think that it's true. I think mothers, our daughters, whatever, however they seen their mothers live, whatever they seen their mother doing, I believe that they gonna walk in the same footsteps as their mother did. Now the thing about that is that most of the time it's good things. It's not always bad because you could have a mother that's on drugs, but she might be a functioning addict.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? She might be a mother to get up and go to work every day, uh, cook every day for her husband and the kids, clean, pay bills. She might do everything. So we call that a functioning addict. So in a case like that, the daughter is gonna take the good characteristics of her mother. It's not always bad. But on the flip side to that, I believe if a daughter seen her mother move from man to man, uh party all the time, sleep late, to 2 and 2 in the afternoon. More than likely, I believe that the daughter is gonna follow in the same footsteps as her mother because, that's what she know. Even if she's in relationships and people might not approve of it or something like that, that's what she know. And I'll give you an example. Um, my father, rest in peace. My father was like, I don't want to say a nagger, but he used to accuse my mother of a lot of stuff
Mhm.
all the time. Like, I mean, like from little as when I was little until probably the day he left this earth, he was accusing her, and then it trickled down to me. So I found myself doing the same thing in relationships. You know what I mean? And then I believe it trickled down to some of my children where
Mhm.
they got that from me. So it's like a snowball effect. So I believe that um whatever you see your parents do, I believe that uh 8 out of 10 children is gonna do the same thing that they kids do. I gotta check some. I hope I don't lose you. Give me one second.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and give my point of view why you go and handle what you got to handle. You know what I'm saying? It's like emulating the parents. And I think that quite a few of us do that. And in some cases, we do it unknowingly. We just, and then in other cases, I believe there are things, in my opinion, that we inherit. These things are hereditary that we get from our parents. And in those cases, it's really not much you can do about it. However, but then there are other cases where you get to see certain things about your parents that you dislike, that you don't want to take on, that you feel more comfortable not doing. I mean, I grew up in a household where, both of my parents worked, and when I was younger, I couldn't see the benefit because it appeared that the work wasn't as beneficial as the hustling thing. It wasn't as beneficial. However, some years later, I came to realize that even though the work money was slow money, it was sure money, and it put you in a position where you didn't have to look over your shoulder or be concerned about certain things that the street element of hustling brought to you. So, you know, so when it comes to that, like what I was saying is like, that could go both ways.
Right.
You can some things you inherit from your hereditary, you inherit from your parents.
Right.
Other things, as you said, you just emulate. You see it and you just do it because you've seen it so often. you know then
Yeah.
there's another part where you see your parents do some certain type of behaviors, and you don't you do your best not to repeat those type of behaviors.
Right.
I think with our generation, we we did that when it came to discipline with our children. Like, I think we grew up, our parents were more disciplinarians. And when we as we got when we start having children, we start trying to give our children some type of leeway.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
like you couldn't, when your parents said something to you, it was law. You had to be quiet and eat it. You know, when we started having our children, we started giving our children a voice. We let them express how they feel, because we couldn't do it.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, and then in some cases it backfired. You know what I'm saying? In some cases, they say too much, but they
Yeah.
don't know when to be quiet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a multifaceted uh, thing. I think in certain cases, I believe we all emulate our parents on some level. You
Right.
know what I mean? On some level, I believe we all do that. You
But you
know,
said you made a good point though. You said even though you seen both of your parents working, you didn't. You wanted to go the other route, but later on, you figured out in your mind that a guaranteed check is better than no check, and that proves the point about the question I was saying, because I remember doing things when I was young, and I knew I wasn't supposed to do them. But I always had my mother voice in the back of my head telling me, that I wasn't supposed to be doing that.
right,
So, regardless of the situation, parents should continue to um, give their wisdom to their children. You know what I mean? And another thing you said made a lot of sense too is that we didn't have a voice, but see, we the next generation we gave our kids a voice, and I think that backfired too. I know it did.
Right,
I know
right, yeah, and you know, and that's like, you know, that falls in the line of tradition. You know what I'm saying?
it. Yeah.
So yeah, but I definitely agree with that too. That it did, it's to some degree backfire, because you know they say things that, you know, that you be like, you know, like really, you borderline disrespectful, or
Right.
you straight up disrespectful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Um. That leads us to the next question. Um. A lot of times, I have heard people say, like, to me, it's dumb when people say, do you wish you ever wish you was white? Or so you might ask somebody white, do you ever wish you was black? You know
Right.
what I mean? Um, which is a to me, it's a stupid question. I would never even think of it, but it is a question. But most of the time, we know that being black or African American, Moroccan, or whatever color or whatever you want to call it, it's like a disadvantage. Or at least we grow up thinking it's a disadvantage. You know how they say, you born, you got two strikes already against you. You know you black and whatever. The other, we got strikes against us. But that being said, do you believe that being black is both a disadvantage and an advantage in the world, in the life we living in now?
Mm. Absolutely, absolutely. I think, yeah, and I think everybody. I guess, you know, I think all nationalities of people have their advantage and disadvantages, but you know, getting back to us as a people, I
Yeah,
would say our advantage is many times people underestimate us.
true, right?
You know
That's
what I
true.
mean?
Yeah,
Because they see us in a certain way based on stereotypes and media hype. So our advantage is we have an opportunity to surpass whatever expectations they have for us, because most times the expectations are low,
right.
you know. So like when it comes to us being creative, we have tremendous creativity.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, we are athletic, intellectual.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Although the intellectual part get pushed to the back a lot of times. We don't focus on our intellectuality. A lot
Right.
of times, you know, we've been used to, you know, being utilized for our gifts. That's where it's a disadvantage to us, because there are so many individuals with tremendous gifts and talents who barely reap the reward of those gifts and talents. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like when you look at the entertainment business and you hear some of your favorite actors or actresses, you know, and you hear them speak, and they speak, and you watch, you know, you watch movies that you enjoy from them, and then they tell you, like Terrence Howard. Listen to him one day. He was talking about that movie Hustle and Flow.
Okay.
He said he got about 8 G's from that.
That's it.
That's it. He got about 8 G's. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, now imagine how much money that movie made, and he walked away with 8 G's,
That's
right?
crazy.
So, so I say that, and then our other disadvantage is that we are being educated by the very people's ancestors or the system that held our ancestors and great grandparents captive. You
Right,
know, like the Jim Crow era and the Reconstruction era. You know what I'm saying? Where those eras where laws were put in place that took away our rights as human beings,
right,
and we are still in this day and time still struggling to get human rights. You know what I mean?
right,
Because when you say human rights, and the crazy part about this to me is when I look around the world, you know, my wife and I went to Jamaica.
right,
When we went to Jamaica, I was saddened. I was saddened because the only stores that I saw that Jamaican, okay, for lack of a better word, Jamaican black people
yeah,
had were like shacks,
yeah.
like shacks.
What
Now,
year? What year was that?
this was couldn't have been couldn't have been longer than a decade.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying? Couldn't have been longer than that. But it's when we went, it you know, anytime you had somebody working in like a nice store, restaurant, you know what I mean? You even had Jamaican people cooking Chinese food. They cooking Chinese food, they cooking Italian food, but they're not owning the facility.
oh, they not owning it.
They're not owning the facility, you know. And the majority of the facilities were being owned by Chinese. The Chinese had the stores, they living up in the top of the stores, and they running the stores. And I say that to say the disadvantage is we are, so we've been told, so history says we're the oldest people on the earth. If that's so, what happened to our seniority? You know what I mean? Any type of job you go to or anything you deal with, seniority plays ahead. The people who was first get the better choices.
Right, right,
We have been ripped away from having the choice because just about every country that we're in, it's being governed by people other than us,
right,
which puts us at a disadvantage because the people who govern the land controls the resources.
right,
So for us, it's like, why do we continue to, you know, in the past, I got it. I truly, comprehended it. We had no other choice. Now that we do have a choice, it's like, look, it's time for our human rights is to be able to govern ourselves.
right,
It's a human right.
right,
Chinese govern themselves. Russians govern themselves. Germans govern themselves. You know, French govern themselves. But in all of those places, we live, but we are being governed by them. You know what I'm saying? So I say that's our major disadvantage, and I think that's something that we need to consider. Like, okay, what's wrong? Like Puffy was saying before they knocked him off, he was saying he wanted to put money behind a black political party. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even better than that, well, he would have been able to put money behind a black government,
Right.
aka Moroccan government.
Right.
So and this is a state that I'm representing a state that it's via North Carolina. Instead of North Carolina, we have took the initiative to file for our own constitution, and we named it
So what do that say?
Moralcopolis, like Moralcopolis with Superman,
Yeah.
Moralcopolis, yeah,
Okay.
Moralcopolis, yeah. So this is our state that we are reclaiming, like America claimed, like the British claimed America when
Right.
they came here. So we are reclaiming it back. That's what we're going through that process of decolonization. But but
That's
to
deep.
to you, huh?
That's deep.
Yeah, yeah. So to your point, that's an advantage for us that we do have a human right to govern ourselves, and it's legal documentation that states that. So it's just a matter of us realizing that and being open to it. You know what I mean? We just need to be open to it as a human right. Why can't we govern ourselves? Why shouldn't we govern ourselves? You know what I mean? We're not. It's not saying we don't like other people or white people or whatever. No, if you can govern yourselves, why can't we govern ourselves?
No,
That,
that's deep. That's deep because see, I've never been to another country because I don't fly. But I would have never thought that what you just said to me. I would have never thought that you could go to Jamaica and Chinese people got restaurants and got Jamaican people cooking in them, but they still own them. Like I would have never thought that. I have heard stuff that's going on in Africa, um, where I think the Chinese is running Africa or something like that. But I would have never thought that. So I'm like you. I think it's advantages and disadvantages. You know what I mean?
right.
Um, like something you said earlier that I say this often to kids and stuff like that. It's people, it's basketball players that's better than Michael Jordan that never had the opportunity to play.
Absolutely.
It's boxers that was probably better than Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali, but they never got the chance to play. It's people probably sing better than Mary J. Blige. Um, but they never had, they never. That's the disadvantage.
Right, right.
You
They
know what
didn't
I
get the
mean?
opportunity. Right.
They didn't get the opportunity. Just like Jackie Robinson, the first black African
Baseball
American
player.
baseball player in 1957 or 47. I should know that. I think it was 1947. Um, the Brooklyn Dodgers took him, but he wasn't nowhere near the best black player.
Right.
It was a lot of people better than him, you know. But being black, that was his disadvantage. You know what I mean? It wasn't his advantage; it was his disadvantage. You know what I mean? So they picked who they want. They picked who they wanted to be the face of baseball. Just like Rosa Parks, she wasn't the first one to to refuse to give up a seat on the bus.
Right.
I think the lady name was Gibson, some Rose Gibson, or some a 15-year-old girl name. Her last name was Gibson. Um, I'm just saying that because that's like the that's the disadvantages because that would never happen to a white person or a European person. You know what I mean? They got the advantages of thinking that they privileged and better, which they are. You know what I mean? But the privileges that they got, we don't have them privileges. But to the flip side of that is like you just said, why not?
Right.
Why not? What we got to do to change it? And I guess we
Absolutely.
got to do like what you said. We got to start by claiming our own stuff. You know what I mean? And if we
Yeah.
don't do that, you're gonna continue to see. Go to Jamaica, see Chinese people running Jamaica, running Africa, and
Right.
different people running the urban cities where we from. You know what I mean? It's going to continue to be like that. So it's an advantage and a disadvantage. The advantage of being black is that knowing that people fear you, not fear you like you're going to kill them, but they know your dominance. Like you said, they know your creativity. Like they know that black people, or we created a rock and roll, and and different origins of different things. So
Yeah.
they fear that.
Yeah. We created the toilets. We created the street lights.
Blood plasma. It's
You know
straight
what
to
I'm
home.
saying? First heart transplant.
First
All of
heart
these things.
transplant. Yeah.
So yeah,
So the real people, that's our advantage, that you know that we creative and we strong. You know what I mean? That's the advantages of it. But the flip side of it is that I don't know when it's gonna change.
yeah. And another thing, we have resilience. You know what I mean? We bounce back. We've been through a lot, but we still resilient. We still pushing.
Right, right,
You know what
right,
I'm saying? So we still pushing. So once we, realize and accept that we have the right to govern ourselves and let the whole world know that we have that right, then I think we can balance the world. It can be a balance because now we can do business as a nationality of people rather than just a color of people.
right.
You know what I'm saying? We have what all of those people you name, they have something that we don't, and that's a state and a constitution that recognizes them, and a state that protects them. Remember, we were considered three-fourths of a person, so in the Constitution. So
Right.
the Constitution didn't recognize us properly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's move.
All
Because we
right.
could be on that for a minute.
Yeah, that was a good topic.
Yeah. Now, now that everywhere you look on social media, women are wearing less, and their behinds are becoming a badge of honor. So, where does social media and women go from here?
That's a good question. Sorry for eating out here. Y'all didn't.
Nah, go ahead. You got to get your grub on, man. You got to eat, man. You
I didn't
got
eat.
to eat got to eat to survive.
Yeah. So I'm a man, and I frequent the social media. Well, I mean, we got a podcast on the social media. I promote podcasts. I promote my books, my movies, and I'm not other than a podcaster. I'm a social media person. I'm an internet dude.
Right.
um, and I'm heterosexual, so I like women. It come a point now, not as much on Facebook than IG and TikTok, is that Instagram is the worst. Everything you flip by Instagram, it's a lady with a big behind twerking it or walking. I mean, and they just getting bigger and bigger. Now they look good. Don't get me wrong. It looked very good. But if you a conscious person, every now and then you gotta say to yourself, like, where do it stop? You know, like where do it end? What's gonna be next? Now that's not just a one culture thing, because it's white women and black women, and it done went spent. I even see Muslim ladies doing it now, and Indian ladies doing it now. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it just done skyrocketed out of control. Where a big butt, I call it, is a badge of honor. I'm I'm assuming this. I'm reaching when I say this. I believe that in the next maybe 5 or 10 years, that's gonna be played out. Now I don't know if I'm gonna be here for whatever, but in 10 years from now, I don't believe that females will still be twerking. I don't believe that they'll still be getting BBLs and all that stuff. I don't believe that every time you turn on the page, you will see a big ass. I just don't see no future. You know what I mean? I don't see no positive effect on it. I just can't see it. Now I'm probably wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But where do it go from here? Where do it stop? I don't know, but it's out of control right now, and I can't see in it. You know, because you know how history changes. It's twerking now. I don't know what it's gonna be next, but hopefully it won't be twerking in like the next 5 or 10 years, or our grandchildren will be on the internet doing it.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't know what you think about that.
And I think like, well, as you were saying, like I think every 10 years is a new generation.
Right.
You know what I mean? So hopefully you're right. Within the next 10 years, it be something more more profound in a good in a uplifting way. You know what I mean? In an uplifting way, because it really produces a mindset, not just on men, women, not just the women, the men too. So it affects both men and women, because if women are looking at their butt to be a badge of honor, and so it's like men are being attracted to that. So it's like, okay, what do you want to do with the woman's butt? I mean, what the butt is popular for two things. You know what I'm saying? So you two things the butt is popular for. So are those two things, something that you should be aspiring to get at? And the sad part is that it's becoming more of a manner where the outer appearance is taking over the inner appearance.
Yeah. Good
You know
point.
what I mean?
Good
So
point.
so so that that's that part is the sad part, because now personality doesn't even matter.
Nope.
So now I hear a lot of you know brothers you know speaking like, yo, the women have changed. The women are, they disrespectful, this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? Or the women is dominant. They dominate.
Right.
You know, so it's because, to me, my opinion is men are getting so caught up and mesmerized by those fat butts
Yep.
to the point where that's all they're concerned with. I want to get a piece of that apple. Let me get a bite of that apple. Not knowing whether what it's gonna be like once you get a bite. You know what I mean? What's she about? Like what is her aspirations? Where does she see herself in the next 10 years? What is she doing in the present? You know what I mean?
Don't
So
matter.
so I think that's the the most saddest part for me is the fact that it's starting to take away from characteristics of the woman that that we could hold in high esteem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you not only are the women, my opinion, demeaning themselves, we are helping them to demean themselves. And that's my thoughts on it.
That's true. That's real. That's real.
So that's my thoughts on it.
Um, I'm gonna jump right into the next question. Um, I seen somebody on Facebook. This guy, I was reading his post. He said that he said he took a girl out a while ago. He met her from New York. He said he picked her up, took her out to bought her some flowers, took her out to dinner. He said they had a nice time. They went. He brought her flowers, took her out to dinner. Then they went for drinks. He said, he was being a gentleman. He had a nice time. He said so.
Right,
When he got to her house to drop her off, she said to him, "Can I get a couple of dollars?" Yeah, I read this on Facebook. He said so. He told her he only had like $70 left because he had paid for dinner, the
right,
drinks, the flowers, and he told her she could have that. And he said she looked at him like kind of crazy, like $70. He said, "Well, I spent all the money on the date."
right, right.
And she said to him, "Well, you just could have gave me all that money. We ain't even have to do that." So that was crazy. So leading up to that, I'm gonna ask you: Do you think people are confusing love with material gifts?
I mean, that almost, it fits in line, where I do think, I mean, when you love somebody, you want to do something. You want to show them you love them. You know what
Right,
I mean? What I think happens too often, is, in my opinion, that people are getting caught up in tangible things,
right,
material things. Like you said, he took her out to dinner, gave her some flowers. She wanted money. She wanted something she could hold, something she could walk away with.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So all that he did, she like, look, all you forget that. You know what I mean? Give me the money.
yeah. She said, "Forget about that."
Right. So it kind of makes you feel like, okay, that type of individual, she would confuse love with if you gave her a bunch of money, if you brought her a new car.
Right,
You know what I mean? Not the fact that, you know, he took time to go to dinner, sit down and get to know him, have a conversation,
right,
get to know each other. So yeah, I do think love is in some cases being overshadowed by gifts.
right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's making people think that, oh, the more you give me, the more you love me.
Right. That's a that's an easy one. That's an easy one right there. Is love being confused with material things? Hell yeah.
Absolutely. Right. So, yeah.
That's an easy one. That's an easy one right there. That's just like the big bucks. You know what I mean? People are look they looking for the wrong things. Looking for the wrong things and they want the wrong things. So that's a definite yes for me.
Well, hence why you say why you feel the way you feel about relationships. Why? Because they're not starting off on a foundation, a strong foundation. You know what I mean? They're starting off on a weak foundation.
Right.
It's like you trying to build a brick house on a on straw. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's what it's like because people are not really getting to a point where they getting to know each other. You know, add texting and social media on it. Texting, how often are you really having a conversation with a person? How many just think about how many people text you throughout the day rather than call you.
Well, you know I prefer that.
Okay. However, that's that's impersonal. It's impersonal. Because they first of all, when they texting, you only see the words.
Right.
You don't hear the tone of their voice. You know what I'm saying? So they may put some type of emoji, but it's impersonal. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's becoming so tough to communicate because people gotten used to texting. And that's been me too. I preferred texting. But now that I realize it's starting to become a problem with communication, I'm starting to rethink that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm starting to rethink it because I've had text conversations and I was been trying to get my point across and it turns into something totally different than what I'm trying to say.
Yep. We
Yeah,
we
go
got
ahead.
we got to cut it short.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, it's
I
about
got
that time.
I got to charge my phone for my next show.
Yeah, and it's about that time, brother. We should it done went, you know.
It's always a pleasure. We have saved my
That's
next question for the last time, but it's always a pleasure.
yeah, yeah. Well,
A lot of times I'll be doing the show, then I don't get to charge my phone for my next show.
oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Do that, brother. And we definitely appreciate all of you for taking the time out of your day to spend with us. Me, Shadi Ali, aka SRD, Jay Sean, aka Mr. F Love. We are grateful and honored to spend this time with you on this Friday, August 29th. And we look forward to seeing you next week. And we hope you enjoyed the show.
Yes, we
You
do.
know what I'm saying? So, till next time, we leave
Yeah.
y'all all with peace.
And if y'all not doing nothing, come on over to my live 9:30 or either my TikTok at jshawn763 for some relationship talk.
Okay. Till next week.
Peace.
Peace.